Vanansari Yamuna Tira Vanansari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanansari Jamuna Tira Vanansari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Gaur Simanande Jayam Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charan Arvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON BBT Founder Charyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jaini Thai Gaur Pimanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada ki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jita Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanditam Scha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pradamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Narayanam namaskritya Ram chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badrishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, whose praise with transcendental songs becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Shakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. The Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God as Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. There's a bird there. Is that a woodpecker? Anyone know? You know a woodpecker? Is that a woodpecker? Look. Oh yeah, okay. He's picking one. He just proved it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Sarabhyaya Namaha.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Om Sarabhyaya Namaha.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Om Sarabhyaya Namaha.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Mukam karoti vasalam pangum langayate girim Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our morning program. Those coming from Vrindavan, you came back recently?
I came yesterday, but I
Yesterday. You have to go. Oh, okay. Vrindavan calling. Vrindavan calling everyone. Krishna is calling everyone. We are continuing from Canto number 1, chapter 18, entitled Parikshit Maharaj Cursed by a Brahmana Boy. And yes, text 49. Hmm. Okay, I was just going to say we must be getting close to the end, and this is the before last verse, so we might read these two verses, 49 and 50. Yes. Iti
Iti
putra
putra
pitaghena
pritagena
so
so
nutapta
nutapto
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 maha
maha
munihi
munihi
swayam
swayam
viprakrito
viprakrito
rajna
rajna
naivagham
naivanam
tad
tad
achintayat
achintayat
iti putra pitaghena
iti putra pritagena
so nutapto mahamunihi
sonutapto mahamunihi
swayam viprakrito rajna
swayam viprakrito rajna
naivagham tad achintayat
naivagham tadachintayat
iti putra pitaghena
iti putra pritagena
so nutapto mahamunihi
sonutapto mahamunihi
swayam viprakrito rajna
swayam viprakrito rajna
naivagham tad achintayat
naivagham tadachintayat
iti putra pitaghena
iti putra pritagena
so nutapto mahamunihi
sonutapto mahamunihi
swayam viprakrito rajna
swayam viprakrito rajna
naivagham tad achintayat
naivagham tadachintayat
iti putra pitaghena so nutapto mahamunihi swayam viprakrito rajna naivagham tad achintayat
इति पुत्र कृताघेन
iti putro kritaghena
सोनु तप्तो महामुनि
sonutapto mahamunihi
स्वयं विप्रकृतो राज्ञा
स्वयं विप्रकृतो राज्ञा
नैवाघं तद्चिन्तयत्
नैवाघं तदचिन्तयत्
इति पुत्र कृताघेन
इति पुत्र कृताघेन
सोनुतप्तो महामुनिः
सोनुतप्तो महामुनिः
स्वयं विप्रकृतो राज्ञा
स्वयं विप्रकृतो राज्ञा
नैवाघं तदचिन्तयत्
नैवाघं तदचिन्तयत्
Anyone else?
इति पुत्र कृताघेन
इति पुत्र कृताघेन
सनुतप्तो महामुनिः
सोनुतप्तो महामुनिः
स्वयं विप्रकृतो राज्ञा
Swayam viprakrito rajna
नैवगां तदचिन्तया
naivagham tad achintayat iti
इति
thus
thus
putra
putra
son
son
krita
krita
done by
done by
aghena
aghena
by the sin
by the sin
saha
saha
he the muni
he the muni
anutaptaha
anutaptah
regretting
regretting
mahamunihi
mahamunihi
the sage
the sage
swayam
swayam
personally
personally
viprakritaha
viprakrita
being so insulted
being so insulted
rajna
rajna
by the king
by the king
na not
not
eva
eva
certainly
certainly
agham
agam
the sin
the sin
tat that achintayat
achintayat
thought of it
thought of it
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. The sage thus regretted the sin committed by his own son. He did not take the insult paid by the king very seriously. Kindly repeat after me. The sage thus regretted the sin committed by his own son. He did not take the insult paid by the king very seriously. Purport. The whole incident is now cleared up. Maharaj Parikshit's garlanding the sage with a dead snake was not at all a very serious offense. But Sringi's cursing the king was a serious offense. The serious offense was committed by a foolish child only. Therefore, he deserved to be pardoned by the Supreme Lord, although it was not possible to get free from the sinful reaction. Maharaj Parikshit also did not mind the curse offered to him by a foolish Brahmana. On the contrary, he took full advantage of the awkward situation, and by the great will of the Lord, Maharaj Parikshit achieved the highest perfection of life through the grace of Srila Shukadeva Goswami. Actually, it was the desire of the Lord, and Maharaj Parikshit, Rishi Shamika, and his son Sringi were all instrumental in fulfilling the desire of the Lord. So none of them were put into difficulty because everything was done in relation with the Supreme Person. Translation again, the sage thus regretted the sin committed by his own son. He did not take the insult paid by the king very seriously. So we are arriving at the end of this chapter and the conclusion of this particular episode, where in the course of the discussions over the last few weeks that we have been in this chapter, we have heard the various we have heard or seen the various angles of this whole incident. It was definitely not an appropriate act on the part of Parikshit Maharaj. At the same time, as it is being concluded here, it was not, in the overall context, such a sinful act that it deserved such kind of punishment on the part of the son of the Muni, Sringi. And the conclusion that is being drawn here is that sometimes great personalities like Parikshit Maharaj are put in awkward situations find themselves in awkward situations, being cursed to die is a very serious uh, reaction to what has taken place. But as we have been reading great personalities, they they accept all things that happen to themselves personally as the arrangements of the Lord, and they look at the positive side. They derive, as in this case, and many similar cases also we find in the Bhagavatam. One example that comes to mind, especially in the case of Vidura, who was expelled and kicked out of the palace, but took it as a blessing of the Lord, and took advantage of when one is living in the palace, when one is involved with politics, it can become generally very entangling, and therefore he was relieved of that entanglement and was able to, as we know, uh, travel very extensively, visiting so many holy places. He visited so many places and became, naturally, when we spend time in holy places, we um, are meant to take advantage of the good association that one finds in such holy places, and therefore one advances in self-realization, one advances in Krishna consciousness. So Vidura is described as being, I don't know the Sanskrit term, but like a
Tirthi kurvanti tirthani.
tirtha.
Yeah, he.
He's a walking tirtha.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Normally we have to go to some holy place to to get the benefit of such a holy place. But personalities, well, Vidura is not the only personality. Personalities like Srila Prabhupada who are carrying, isn't it? Normally we need to go to Vrindavan, but personalities like Vidura, like Srila Prabhupada, all great exalted personalities, they carry within our heart Vrindavan. So they are like every place they visit becomes sanctified by their presence, by the touch of the Lord's feet. So this is the end of this whole episode, which has been analyzed from so many different angles, and a lot of important instructions were shared actually throughout this chapter. One of them being this, for lack of a better word, rift, separation, especially between these two very important classes within society, social orders, the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas, which is in so many ways actually one of the main symptoms, Prabhupada mentioned in various purports, of the major disruption that we are facing to this day, and that is that characterizes actually Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is characterized by the disruption of the social order, by the disruption of the what is meant to be the natural harmonious relationship that is meant to exist amongst all of the different varnas and ashramas. Mm, we are getting, it's giving us an opportunity to think about and to meditate upon this system that has been perfectly created by Krishna, the system of Varna and Ashrama, which is which is, although being a perfect system, when individuals fail to take up the responsibility uh, that they should within each, especially those in the higher orders, higher in the sense of having greater responsibility because of having so many dependents, those who are the natural leaders, beginning with the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas as well, because they are. See, we need to understand how the Vedic culture is nicely presenting us, nicely giving us this very simple, actually when we look at it, it's a very simple arrangement. You have people who are qualified, who are meant to be qualified leaders, and you have people who are meant to be, should be, qualified followers. In any system, there has to be a leader, there has to be a follower. And it becomes very problematic when everyone tries to be leader. It immediately creates clash and conflict, which is what happens when we deviate from the God-given system. So it becomes extremely important, actually, for all of us who are maybe more so newly introduced to that perfect arrangement and system, which is given by Krishna, which is to this day extremely, what is it, controversial, controversial within society, and for most people, which seems to be the last place to look at for finding solutions. You know, isn't it? It's the last thing people think about in terms of how to solve the problems of the world today. But
Not even the last thing.
huh?
It's not even the last thing. Many.
It's
Out of the scope. It's not
yes.
even the last thing. Varnashram.
Yes, actually, on the larger scale, it's a means to actually attain the highest goal and objective. Yes, in many ways, it's like because Varnashram is dealing with what is with something which we can see, something that is material, you know, society and how society is meant to function. And so what is meant to be more obvious um, is not so easy to understand, what to speak of things that are less obvious in one sense. In other words, the whole Vedic culture is, we could say, introducing us and based on two levels of perfection, two dimensions of perfection. When we speak of self-realization generally, you know, we speak of realization in terms of the soul, and the more we understand the nature of the soul, the nature of the living entity, then then we can begin to understand the nature of the super soul, the origin of the small soul. That is one level. Of course, that is the most important and the most subtle level. But what is also described, what is also introduced, what is also in great detail explained in the Vedic literatures, and we are constantly getting glimpses of that through such pastimes as this one, in terms of this conflict that was uh, created between the Brahmana class and Kshatriya class. Uh, so the whole material arrangement or system of Varnashrama is equally important to understand and to follow. And this is, we could say, especially underlined and explained by our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada. And in so many ways, it's like, in one sense, ironical. What is, on the spiritual level, what is the most difficult, what Krishna consciousness is presenting, what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has introduced, is like the topmost, highest level of realization. It's the most esoteric level for the people who are, of Kali Yuga, who are at the other end. It's like from the most, from the two extremes. We're talking about two extremes. People in Kali Yuga are the most fallen, but yet the message and the whole mission of Lord Chaitanya is to bring us to that, from that most fallen condition to the most elevated condition, and within all of that, trying to also capture the medium by which more easily and more quickly we will attain that highest level, which is connected with this whole very scientific system that is again and again being referred to here, connected with Varnashrama Dharma. So, in other words, not only are we to take up or to learn, not only we have to learn one science, but we have to learn two sciences. Yeah. Because they are both, when I say two sciences, I mean the science of spiritual Swadharma and the science of material Swadharma. And unless they are approached, unless we take up what is the recommended process of systematically learning these two sciences, then we will actually not be successful. So that is the I would say that is the main challenge for all of us. Not at all easy, but somehow we have to bring ourselves to whatever extent we can, understanding the depth and the importance of these subject matters. Yeah. So we can read the last text unless somebody has some comment or question on this. The last text being 50. You can, I think you have it on your machines. Yeah. Yes.
So you mentioned these two sides of self-realization, two types of self-realization.
Yes.
Which is a nice idea.
Yes.
Can you provide some background where you took this statement that there are two, or there is not one, but it's not one self-realization, but it's two.
Yes.
So where is this idea coming into your
Here.
heart? Yeah, but you know,
It's practically in every page of the Bhagavatam.
yeah, which part? I'm not challenging. I'm just asking how you're thinking, how you're creating this nice.
But I'm not creating.
Summary. No, you make a summary of the Bhagavatam's
yeah.
teaching in this topic.
I should have my PowerPoint. There's I can send you specifically, Prabhupada.
No, not so
No, I'm
seriously, but
No, but I'm saying
which part of the Bhagavatam supporting your statement?
yes. The problem is that the entire Bhagavatam, the entire Bhagavad Gita, but there are specific. In one presentation, one of the one of the presentations which we will be which will be part of our Kartik semester. You see, we're focused on what is called Bhakti Shastri. There's another Shastri course that is called Dharma Shastri. Dharma Shastri. And I would say that before devotees take up Bhakti Shastri, they should take up Dharma Shastri.
Right.
Because I've heard personally devotees who have taken Bhakti Shastri courses and who have actually, I mean, with all due respect to those who have been teaching, it's not everyone, but some students who have taken Bhakti Shastri courses over the years have come out with very serious misunderstandings of Dharma. So our acharyas, especially our founder acharya, and it's part of this Dharma Shastri course that we'll be giving here, that I've given in the past, specifically gives references that we find in both the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam that describe what is called spiritual Swadharma and material Swadharma. Both of them being a full, complete, and perfect science. The spiritual Swadharma is summarized, and we all know this verse. Prabhupada quotes this verse as well when he speaks and describes spiritual Swadharma. He summarizes that in the very well-known verse, Jiver Saruphoy Krishna Nityadas. Isn't it? We all understand. We are eternal servants of Krishna. And in describing material Swadharma, Srila Prabhupada makes reference to Varnashrama Dharma. And this is, we have this double challenge. The more we understand actually that there are these two levels of self-realization. Because self, as we find in the very well-known verse, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo, Yato Bhakti Radoksaji, Ahaitukiya Pratihata Yagatma Suprasidati. So Atma doesn't mean only the soul, as Prabhupada nicely explains. Atma means the body, Atma means the mind, Atma means all different levels of the self, material self, spiritual self. Although the material self is temporary, but we have this body, and there's a whole science in how to properly utilize this body, how to properly engage this body, interacting with material nature, etc. So the deplorable condition in the world today is that the vast majority of people are totally not knowing about both. Yeah. there's a complete, it's like misunderstanding or total blackout, ignorance of spiritual Swadharma and material Swadharma. And the unfortunate condition within our society, ISKCON society, is that the majority of our devotees are missing out, not understanding this level of material Swadharma, which means that they're not understanding that the majority, and Prabhupada was in so many ways and so often as well instructing us that there is a more natural, there's a standard way of living, there's a standard system of education, there's a standard system, Vedic standard system of economy, of making a living, which is meant to be directly connected with cows and land. So we are to this day, unfortunately, it's extremely unfortunate because we are, as Prabhupada described, modern day society, modern day civilization is on, what's it called? The royal road to hell. We're on the road of total destruction and annihilation every single day. And unless individually and collectively as a society we wake up to that reality in terms of understanding that, because very often we will say, I hear this all the time, that Krishna consciousness brings the spiritual solution to all of our problems, which is true, but not complete. Krishna consciousness does not only bring spiritual solution to all of our problems, but Krishna consciousness also brings material solutions to all of our problems. And material solutions are directly connected with what is called the Char Vidya, the four Vedic sciences. And when we are not knowing about these four sciences, then we cannot understand and cannot relate to this concept of material solutions. Because within the Char Vidya, Chatur Vidya, we have, if we start from the fourth one, we have the science of economics. And most of our devotees don't know about this science. And in one of the purports of the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada explains how, I forget if he actually mentions 80%, but the vast majority of householders are meant to meet their material necessities of life through agriculture, through what is meant to be the norm in terms of meeting our material necessities of life. In so many places, not only in the Bhagavatam, but also in the Bhagavad Gita. So the science of economics means actually agriculture and cow protection. Then the science of governance, which means, we were discussing, there are many references in this particular chapter, monarchy. It's a very deep, and most people, I know because I've had devotees taking some courses on Vedic governance, and practically speaking, in the first course, we lose everyone. Because, unless you really fix your mind, and you cannot, Vedic studies, which are meant especially for the Dvijas, the twice born, those who are meant to take on very heavy, responsible leadership in society, is heavy subject matter. It requires full attention, and it requires good brain. We're lacking both in Kali Yuga. You see, our attention span is like practically non-existent, isn't it? And that's why advertising nowadays is it's like crazy. Yeah.
Much to that point, there's a book called Churning Earth. Not
Churning Earth.
Yeah, not written by a devotee.
Okay.
A lady in that makes academically, she has written it and she has proven that the factories cannot employ the human masses, but 90% of the population can be employed by agriculture and
Yes,
so
yes.
that's academically
Okay. Yeah.
also
Yeah.
proven.
There are many people who are not devotees who make excellent points.
Regarding Prabhu's question, even Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his writings, he makes a distinction between spiritual dharma and material dharma. It specifically refers varnashram as a material system or arrangement.
Yes.
We have slokas like Traiguniya Vishayo Vedo. So Vedas deal with the three modes of nature, which is material. The vast majority of Vedic literature
Correct.
does deal with the material aspect of living.
Yeah. This is nicely explained also by Srila Jiva Goswami in his Tattva Sandarbha. I think the question or the point he raises is that why is it that in the Vedic literatures there's so much of karma kanda? You know, majority, yeah, right. Because majority of people that they're on that level and they need to gradually be, of course, Mahaprabhu's mercy is very unique and very special, and we could say goes kind of like bypasses that if one actually takes up to the process and the method given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But even then, because Prabhupada, because very often some devotees will argue, well, Prabhupada, and he did make so many statements that, hey, just chant Hare Krishna, practice devotional service, etc. But then Srila Prabhupada made statements that were, we could say, practically speaking, startling and like unexpected to a number of devotees. But Prabhupada, we thought that we should just do this. And then Prabhupada said,
Why are people falling down?
Yeah.
Right. That was his response. He
Yes.
said, we don't need one. You're trying to argue with Prabhupada.
Yes. And then he made that very, important statement that it is not so easy to be Vaishnava, and that to become Vaishnava, we need that. We need to take assistance from that system that Krishna has created. Of course, at the same time, we understand philosophically that pure devotional service is totally beyond and above varnashram. That, however, having been said, does not mean that we just brush away that God created system.
Well, my understanding is that that particular statement or verse said it's beyond, it's not dependent on the material situation,
Yes.
which is true,
Yes.
but practically it is realized by a very limited number
Yes.
of people. Just like Krishna says, Manusyanam
Ah.
siddhai.
Yes.
But for masses, if a system that is really conducive for them to gradually elevate is then this system has to be.
Yes, for the general masses, and also for the mass of our devotees. The general mass of common people and the general mass of devotees.
I totally agree with you. So I'm thinking that in the Bhagavatam, many places are explaining that when someone too early, immaturely, went to the next stage, they came out from the social system, and they have really difficulties. Like in ninth canto, there are different stories of kings and a couple of kings who were really understanding this topic, and Bharat Maharaj story also showing that there was something which brought him back from the pure level of, or before he reached the perfect level,
Right.
he have to come back to the material world and have to act in the material world in some way. So I totally agree, but I think the focus, the main point is, main part of the Bhagavatam is the seventh canto,
Yes.
which is exactly focusing on that topic of how to what is the pure devotional service and how to reach that pure devotional service when someone have not such a
Yes,
fortunate situation that Prahlad have in the beginning.
correct. Yeah.
So some who have to attain that birth,
Yes, yes,
either biological birth or spiritual birth, to
yes.
have that level when one can really act on the
The Prahlad Maharajas and the Haridas Thakurs are rare
Yes.
and far in between.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because my logic is that Krishna created this perfect system, but
Absolutely.
it's broken.
Yes,
So if I create a perfect system like a wash machine, and I know it will broken,
yes,
I give some part of the documentation
uh,
that if that's broken in this way,
yes,
you can correct in this way, and
correct.
if this you, and there are some modern way that you can find out with the computer what is the problem with the car,
Yes,
and they have this machine which analyzing the problem of the system, and it says okay, this is the problem.
solution.
So we have to have this kind of documentation from Krishna through his shastra or through his devotees
Yes,
to see what is correct, what is not correct, and how to
yes,
make the system again working correctly.
correct.
So that's why I'm looking for how Krishna supported us
Yes,
with this documentation when something is broken.
yes, yes, yes. One of many important statements given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur that he just states as a general statement, and of course there are more detailed information that he gives in other places as well. But he mentions how the system of Varnashrama is for the Vaishnavas in their conditioned state. Simple statement. With Sadhana Tosani. Yeah, Sadhana Tosani. The system of Varnashrama, which is, as we all know, created by Krishna, is for the Vaishnavas in their conditioned state. So those who feel that they're not in their conditioned state, they can just bypass. Uh, but Prabhupada mentioned that we should not bypass.
He said even though if somebody is situated at that level, they should still act to set an example.
Yes, correct. Yeah, even those who are totally liberated. I mean, Prabhupada mentions. I believe it's also there in Nectar Devotion that there is the Paramahamsa, the Uttamadikari. The Uttamadikari will come down from that platform to preach. Now, all of us, we don't have to worry about that. We have to strive. To at least come to the Madhyama platform, Madhyamadikari, and in due course of time, by Krishna's mercy.
So that could be one of the main function of the Varnashrama College or the research, that to create such a documentation by which we can focus on correcting the broken Varnashram system.
Yes. I think we have to write many articles because there are many broken things. Well, yes. No, that's correct. So, Srila Prabhupada gave us specifically courses. He gave us the titles, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vedanta, Bhakti Bible, etc. And he also instructed that we should work out curriculum for the rest of the whole system, because Prabhupada was focused and his time was limited actually. but he gave instruction. He instructed in as much as we need to introduce the Brahminical culture, we need to also systematically introduce the Kshatriya culture. And we need to introduce the Vaishya culture. We need to introduce the Shudra culture. We need to introduce the whole spectrum. Because if one is not an integral part of the system of Varnashrama, he is not considered civilized.
Still And Sridham.
Yes, yes, Sridham, that's a whole other topic in itself, which is very elaborately spoken about actually by grandfather Bhishmadev in Mahabharata. Yeah. The instructions of grandfather Bhishmadev and the instructions of Vidura are summarized in there's Vidura Niti, right? Vidura Niti, just like Chanakya Pandit, his moral instructions are summarized. So these are part of the syllabus within Varnashrama College, actually, that we are meant to introduce here in our VCF Varnashrama College campus. Yes.
Maharaj, I also would like to make a point, though definitely there should be more literature in this regard and we should write, but at the same time, I think we need to understand that we cannot document our way out of this because there is a personal element to this Guru Sadhu Sastra. The scriptures give guidelines. The behavior of the sadhu, there's a famous verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, says the behavior of the sadhu reveals the purpose of the scripture. And Guru tells how to apply that
Right.
in a particular situation. So there is a personal element. Because it's impossible to, write every single nuances and scenarios and situations.
Right.
And Prabhupada used to say that requires some intelligence.
Right. Yeah, these two need to be there. There needs to be, let's say, some various guide manuals, various specific instructions, but then the application of that needs to be, can only be done when there are individuals or personalities who are actually living those instructions. Yeah. Correct. So tomorrow's text we will keep for tomorrow. That's why it's called tomorrow's text. Yeah, because it's already, yeah. Jai Grantaraj Bhagavatam ki, Jai Shri Prabhupada ki, Gaur Rupimanande, Hare Krishna.